be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. May all, and if it works to move your arms this way, feel free. May all be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. And may all be happy. And back to I, and if it's comfortable, arms crossed over your heart. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy.
Many years ago, Jim Fay of Love and Logic fame and my favorite parenting guru told me this story. He heard a ruckus as he walked into the grocery store after work. Ruckus? Well, more likely a tantrum. Something Jim was highly qualified to diagnose. He did his best to put it out of his mind as he pushed his cart through the aisles one at a time. The sound went on and on. As he got closer, he could also hear a man's voice responding to the child. Now he was even more curious to peek in on the scene. He found them as he turned the aisle into the cereal aisle. A dad pushing a toddler in a cart. The toddler screaming his outrage. He hated being in the store. He hated his dad. He hated everything his dad put in the cart. Much to Jim's amazement and delight, the dad responded with a patient, gentle voice. "You'll be okay, Harold. It's all right. We're almost done. You'll be okay, Harold." Jim smiled at himself and went on to finish his shopping to the ongoing soundtrack of the toddler and the dad's patient reassurance that Harold would be okay. They were almost done. They could go home soon. As luck would have it, Jim found himself behind them in the checkout line. He caught the dad's eye, and he complimented him on how kindly and gently he reassured Harold. The dad, with a chuckle, said, "I'm Harold." Imagine showing that kind of self-compassion at a time like that. For those of you who don't know, I'm Gail Vaughan, and so lucky to serve as your worship associate this month. As you settle into your seats, this is a good time to let you know that unlike toddlers, cell phones will stay silent, so you might check and see if you've taken care of that. It is okay, though, to fill the room with sound with a quick personal greeting. Now, if you're the shy type, it could just be a shy, quiet smile or a big hello or a hug, whatever you and whoever you're greeting seem comfortable with. You see, we're all greeters here, and this is a time when you can turn a stranger into an acquaintance, or a acquaintance into a friend, or a friend into a friend well met. So now's your chance. Rise and greet. Today, in honor of Indigenous Peoples Day, we're wrapping our service in the awareness of the Nisenan tribe on whose land we sit. We start our service by celebrating the Nisenan beginning to repopulate and settle into UUCM, the newly regained piece of their ancestral land. And we'll close the service with a few slides of the work they're doing on the land and an invitation to attend the 16th annual Nisenan Heritage Day, which is this afternoon, Miners Foundry from 12 to 4. This year's theme, surviving obscurity and the wisdom despite erasure. It honors the resilience of these people, their culture, their history, their future in these ancestral homelands. In addition, you can look forward to a full Nisenan-focused service in February.
Good morning. This is our land acknowledgement this morning. As we look to the struggles of the Nisenan people and compassionately reach out with our support, let's remember during this week about self-compassion that deep compassion occurs when we can see ourselves in the other person and know that they are also a part of us. When we hold the world's challenges with love, compassion automatically embraces everyone. With this basket of black oak acorns, we remind ourselves that compassion heals wounds. Expressing our heartfelt desire that the Nisenan people recover their rich cultural heritage, we commit to supporting them in these and other efforts in whatever ways we can, under their guidance and at their request.
Good morning. We light our chalice with the words of the Reverend Dr. David Breeden. Come into this moment as if stepping into a garden at dawn, quiet, tender, open to what may grow. Let compassion be the flower we bend toward. We return as if returning to the soil, hands in dirt, willing to tend what needs tending. Here today, we gather to remember that the most delicate blooms need daily care, that attention is the water of love, that we are still learning how to care. Come, let us begin again in love, tending the garden of the heart and the heart of compassion.
Gail recognized that Master Gardener Patricia was the perfect person for that reading, and it's true. And as I come up here, I notice there is a box. A different box yet. And of course, I wonder what's in it. This is our wonder box. Shall I look? Oh, interesting. A map of California counties. And another map, I can tell it's the west coast of the United States, with words like Machupta, Nisenan, Miwok, Yokuts. I wonder what our young people are going to do with these in Kids Connection today. And I wonder if there's a young person who would be willing, who might like to take the box up as we sing you on your way with this little light of mine. Ah.
Now for your official welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of the mountains here in Grass Valley, California. As we explore the challenging path of cultivating compassion and how it impacts our lives and the lives of others. Compassion is a bit like an iceberg. We see it seemingly floating, frozen mountain, beautiful. But wait, there's so much more than that. Today, because we're focusing on self-compassion, we titled the service, Yeah, But. I invite you to notice how many yeah buts you come across when you consider showing the same level of compassion to yourself as you provide to others. The Reverend Michelle Collins points out that there's a tenderness we save for others that we ration for our own souls. Yeah, but a forgiveness we grant freely to strangers, while our own mistakes echo endlessly in memory's courtroom. Yeah, but... And we have learned to be generous with everyone, but the person in the mirror. Yeah, but... She encourages us to accept that loving ourselves is not vanity, but necessity, the deep well from which all other love must flow. So welcome, you who are here in this room, you who are in the chanting room, on Zoom, and those of you who are watching in the future on our YouTube channel. No matter how you came to be here today, no matter how you joined us, you are so welcome here today and in the unfolding of the days to come. It is both good and healing to be together.
We light our candle of compassion, resistance, and resilience as a ritual acknowledgement of what we are facing and feeling in response to the deepening threats to democracy and to our social fabric. We light it today with an awareness that compassion is the ground in which the ever more important call to resist and our sustained resilience are each anchored. Is there someone who's feeling the times strongly today who would like to light our candle this morning? You don't even have to strike the match, just light it, light it from the chalice. Anyone who's feeling the times and would like to light it? Tracy, great. Come on. Good to see you. So good to see you. Tracy, thank you. Gail's letting Tracy know that the other candle does not, in fact, light. And there's something about that metaphor, too, right? That's fitting. And this morning, in our ritual of honoring the joys and the sorrows that we're holding in our hearts, in our minds, in our bodies, in our prayers, I invite you to consider today finding and adding a stone to the bowl or a comment or symbol in the chat for yourself, gifting yourself the compassion you might typically reserve for others, compassion for holding exactly what you're holding in you these days, and exactly the way you're holding it, for feeling exactly what you're feeling, for doing exactly what you're doing or not doing, compassion for exactly what is true for you right now, whether or not you think it ought to be true. In the tender silence of our hearts, in the gentle music, in the surfacing and offering of our silent prayers, let us each hold each other with care and love, knowing always that no, we are not alone in any of this. stones for some of the rest. It's a lot lately. In that spirit, how is it with you? Who's doing really, really well? This is always true as well. Who's doing pretty well? Who's doing okay? Who's kind of struggling? This is hard. And who's really struggling? For whom is this really hard? Yeah, the whole range. The whole range. It's evident in your faces when you come up. So I think of this when we see this whole bowl full of stones. It's this whole community of cares and concerns, approached in all our unique ways, with all our ways of wondering about it, attending to it, avoiding it, praying about it, the whole mix. This is who we are in community. Last Sunday, I encouraged the practice of talking to strangers, of making eye contact and small talk and meaningful, if brief, connections with people we don't know, as a way of investing in trust in general in the community, as a way of investing in the future, as a way of investing in our own open-heartedness, and as an accessible entry to this month's theme and practice of compassion. So how's that going? Have you been talking to strangers? Yeah, a few, yeah. And is it going well? Oh, pretty well, thank you. I'm curious for those people who've been reaching out to do that. Anyone care to name in a sentence or so how it's been affecting you? How has talking to strangers been affecting you? Does anyone have a description?
It lifts my mood.
It lifts your mood.
Creates safety.
Creates sense of safety.
Being seen and connected with.
A sense of being seen and connected with and reaching out. Parisa.
I realize that there really aren't strangers.
I realize that there really aren't strangers. Beautiful. Anyone kind of, anyone who planned to talk to strangers but didn't? Anyone who's kind of down on yourself for not getting to it? Ah, there we are. Today we turn our attention to self-compassion, which I have found to be a persistent challenge in my life. Anyone else? Self-compassion's hard. It has so often been easy to find myself hurtling headlong down a groove of self-criticism that's picking up considerable speed before I catch myself. Although with some effort, I'm slow, I'm gradually learning to notice sooner, to not feed it as much, to gently apply the brakes, and sometimes even to allow compassion for myself to transform the otherwise deeply disconnecting experience into a source of deep connection and grounding. I think that cultivating self-compassion is some of the most important work we can do in our lives in general, but certainly now too. But for the ways it allows us, it's valuable for the ways it allows us to affect ourselves, but also allows us to be present to other people's suffering, right? If we can attend to ourselves, we're better able to be present. The last time we had compassion as a theme a couple years ago, I shared the experience of Thupten Jinpa, who was the English translator for the Dalai Lama for more than 30 years. And he was here in the US helping design and lead a program at Stanford to study compassion and altruism. And so at the very beginning, he was designing an 8-week compassion cultivation training at Stanford. And as he sampled this with members of the community and the students, he planned to use the typical Buddhist progression, which is starting with self-compassion and then moving that compassion outward to others in this ever-expanding circle. The progression in the song we sang at the beginning, from I to you to we to all, or in the more traditional metta meditation in Buddhism, from concern for my happiness and well-being to that of someone I know really well and care about, to somebody I know but I don't really know, to people I don't know at all, to people who really get under my skin. That's the progression. It's also the progression we're going to follow these next few weeks. But the self-compassion that was supposed to be the compassion launching pad in that program, that 8-week program, turned out to be a total stumbling block for the students and community members at Stanford. It was too difficult for people to focus compassion on themselves. So Jinpa changed the order of the training and started with the much easier step of finding compassion for others. And then when people's hearts were open and their compassion was in motion, he invited a U-turn to focus their compassion back on themselves. It was a way to access their self-compassion by hacking their more natural compassion for other people. By riding that and hacking it and then turning it towards oneself. Using the technique often along the lines of, what would you say to somebody who is your dear friend if they were in this situation or feeling this, right? People could better access if they thought of applying compassion to a friend. Now this happened in a group here that's been working on a process called a deep dialogue, which is a way of engaging each other across differences and disagreements with a whole lot of presence and compassion and empathy. And as we were working on this process, I realized that I and the group were leaping really quickly to the step where we try to find empathy for the other person. Can we understand what's going on for them? Can we feel what they're feeling? And we had just leapt over step 1, which was to understand what's going on in us first. What am I feeling? What are my needs? What are my wants? What are the stories I'm telling myself? Because if we can get there, we're better able to be more completely and openly present to someone else. But we went really fast to step 2. So we had to back up and say, let's focus on step 1 for a time. And part of the reason to do that is so that when we're compassionate to other people, we don't lose who we are. We don't abandon ourselves. If we've attended to ourselves first, we can hold on to that. We can hold on to ourselves while we're being compassionate and empathetic with someone else. Now, I expect that some of you are familiar with Dr. Kristen Neff, who's been very explicitly studying self-compassion for more than 20 years now. And Neff points out, and this is helpful to us thinkers, that there's a biological reason that self-compassion is naturally more difficult. It's not just cultural, it's biological. Being hard on ourselves for making a perceived mistake or for upsetting those who are close to us is a hardwired response that evolved in humanity to keep us safe. This way, rather than simply repeating a potentially dangerous error or committing some unforgivable social infraction, we humans learned and passed down through our biology. So if we, in the old sense, if we did some social infraction, we might have been kicked out of the group, right? So we circumvent that by anticipating it in both cases. And so we take control of the situation ourselves, right? And we berate ourselves first before it gets to somebody else doing that. It's meant to protect us. That response is meant to protect us with all the hard baggage that comes with it. Neff says that though self-compassion feels like common sense, or that it ought to be, it's actually not natural in general for that reason. That we're hardwired to have compassion for others, those who are close to us. We're hardwired to tend and befriend others in our in-group and to self-check our own behavior. That's the process. So, Neff encourages, don't beat yourself up for beating yourself up. It's only natural. We can let go of that. We don't have to beat ourselves up for beating ourselves up. It's natural in our biology anyway. Or as my spiritual advisor invites me to say to myself when I'm inclined to be hard on myself, it's perfectly understandable that I feel ... It's perfectly understandable that I feel angry. It's perfectly understandable that I would feel sad. It's perfectly understandable that I would behave this way. Not necessarily desirable, but understandable. Right? I can let go of that berating. We don't need to be hard on ourselves. ourselves, in other words. Have some compassion, Neff suggests. Thank that part of you, in fact, for trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you safe. Be glad for that. And then see if you can enter a conversation with that part of yourself and maybe see if it's open to doing something differently. Right? Thank it for trying to protect us, but then see if we can be open to a different way. But I'm jumping ahead. So let's look at a few basics, and then I'm going to invite us into a practice of some internal self-compassion today while we're in the presence of such compassionate company. So I suppose a definition might be helpful. Here's Dr. Kristen Neff's definition of compassion. Very simply, concern with the alleviation of suffering. That's compassion. Concern with the alleviation of suffering. Now, this is different than empathy, which I was touting recently, which he says is simply emotional resonance. I feel what you feel. When you feel angry, I also feel angry. When you feel sad, I also feel sad. And empathy can stir our compassion. It can invite our compassion. But just because I feel someone else's suffering doesn't mean necessarily that I have any concern about alleviating it. Empathy is the feeling, but not the concern about alleviating. Compassion is concern with the alleviation of suffering. So self-compassion then is that compassion turned inward, compassion with the alleviation of our own suffering, which means that we first have to be aware of and acknowledge to ourselves that we're suffering, that we're hurting. The first step. We have to let go of any notion that that is selfish, right? So we have to acknowledge that we're suffering. That's the first component. So there are 3 components to self-compassion. And that's the first one. She names it mindfulness. This noticing and paying attention to our suffering or our feelings of inadequacy without suppressing those feelings and without exaggerating them and without getting lost in them, just acknowledging them. It's noticing and paying attention with enough spaciousness to be an observer, to see, almost from a slight distance, what we're feeling, what's going on in us. Not just to be immersed in it, but to notice it, to see it. Be mindful, she invites, as an initial step. Start there. Accept that and recognize that, oh my goodness, I'm hurting or I'm suffering. Whether or not we feel that suffering is hurt, or is justified or right, or more or less than anybody else's, just acknowledge what's actually going on in us. And then her second component after that awareness is to have a sense in that moment that we actually share a common humanity, all of us. Rather than feeling isolated, that we share a common humanity. So for example, when we fail or make a mistake or feel inadequate, do we experience it as only about us? As if everyone else in the world has it all together and we're the only one feeling this way? Or can we bring our awareness to the fact that other people feel this way too? That other people make mistakes and other people feel inadequate. It's the sense of common humanity that distinguishes self-compassion from pity or self-pity. Pity says, oh, you're the only one. I feel sorry for you. Compassion says, this hurts, and you're not alone in the hurting. Pity isolates. Compassion says, oh no, other people experience this too. In the Buddhist framing, we can realize that to be human is for everyone to sometimes suffer. Right? It's the nature of being human, to be imperfect, to have hard times, to fail. As Neff puts it, this is what makes us card-carrying members of humanity. Card-carrying members of the human race, that we sometimes experience these things. And if we can remember that, if we can remember our common humanity, then we can realize that we're not alone. We really aren't. And that our personal imperfection of the moment is not what separates us from all other human beings. On the contrary, our imperfection is actually what connects us to every human being, ever. You know how we tend to think that everyone else has it together? And everyone else thinks we do? Yeah, it's that. Common humanity. And the third component then, this is the important one, well they're all important, but this is the turning really, She says it's the importance of bringing warmth into what is an otherwise rather cold experience. To offer ourselves warmth, a nurturing kindness and understanding. It's okay, Harold. The kind of understanding we would offer to a friend who is suffering. To acknowledge to ourselves, this is hard, this hurts, it's perfectly understandable that I feel this way. It will not be forever. Being warm and friendly and encouraging to ourselves allows us to feel safe enough to open up new possibilities then, for a new way of seeing, a new way of being. And because there's an important physiological aspect to compassion and self-compassion, physical touch can be, for those for whom it feels safe, physical touch can be an important component for aiding us. So if it feels safe, if it doesn't send us into a sense of unsafety, then physical touch, our own, on ourselves, can actually increase our heart rate coherence and variability and lower our cortisol levels. It is physically, if it's physically possible and feels safe enough to you, simply holding your hands over your heart and feeling that warmth and that pressure, that gentle pressure of your own hands, or maybe it's hands on arms, or a gentle kind of self-hug with hands on shoulders, or holding one's side of one's face, or cupping one's face, or caressing one's forearm. Whatever it is that feels right and good to you, if that feels right and good, it has the same effect, it turns out, as somebody else doing that. That was a surprise to me. The same effect as if someone else was holding you in that way. And one study that was looking at this determined that a mere 20 seconds a day of this kind of supportive self-touch coupled with warm and encouraging words to ourselves can make a significant difference in the level of our self-compassion, our openness, our happiness, no matter what's happening. And I would add that the tone of our voice matters. Even the tone of our inner voice. I really learned this. I'm working with a therapist who does this so beautifully. If I get into an emotionally hard spot, his voice becomes so soothing. It's not a conscious thing in that moment for me, but I realize all of a sudden, oh, he's talking to me with a really soothing voice. And even when I realize it, it works. It's okay. Oh, that is hard. Oh, that must feel really awful. Oh, I can understand why you'd be feeling that way. I'm so sorry. It's the tone in part, not just the words. And even when those tones are in our head. So mindfulness, being aware of and being willing to acknowledge, to notice what's going on, that we hurt, that we're suffering, that something's not right, feeling not right. That we have common humanity, that we're not alone in this. Other people are feeling this, even if we can't see it. And then this final step of self-kindness, bringing warmth to ourselves. Perhaps, if it feels okay, aided by some self-touch. So let's practice. Let's practice. I'm going to offer what Kristen names a self-compassion break. And I'm going to draw very directly from her words and her guidance to help us do this. So I invite you first to let your body get to the position it wants to be in, to feel right and good and ready and comfortable. And when we start, I'll be inviting you to call up something that's distressing you right now. Something smallish, a smallish form of suffering, not something that's overwhelming, not something that's too big to look at in a couple of minutes, but something that's distressing you. Some smallish suffering that you recognize going on in you. And then over the course of this, I'll invite you to bring these components of mindfulness and common humanity and self-kindness. So settled in, I invite you to notice that you're breathing. And how. And where in your body you notice that you're breathing. Is it your abdomen? Is it your chest? Is it the edge of your nose or lips? I invite you to tune your ears to what you hear right now. Whether it's outside you or inside you, what do you hear? And whether your eyes are open or closed, what do you see right now? And notice what it feels like where the edge of your body meets the world. The air on your skin, the clothing that meets your skin, the weight of your body meeting the chair, or your feet meeting the floor. What's troubling you now? What's that smallest suffering, that distress? It's not too large, but you notice. Something real in your life, but not too big. Maybe there's some challenge to a relationship, or you're worried about someone, or there's something going on at work or in an organization you serve, or you've got a health issue. What feels present and right to work with for a few moments? Let yourself notice and become familiar then with what's happening in your body as that focus settles on this smallest thing. What do you notice? What are you feeling in your body? In your emotions? In your head? Notice it. Observe it. Bring some mindful awareness to that difficulty. If you know it's hard or that it hurts, and you don't want to ignore that fact, just recognize it. Without getting lost in it, just be aware of it. That it's difficult. That it's painful. That it's distressing. That it's challenging. See if you can be aware of it without getting totally sucked into it. Then bring in the reminder that you are not alone in this. There might be a part of you that feels like this shouldn't be happening to you. Maybe that something's wrong with you because this is happening to you. Or you think you're all alone, everyone else in the world is living a normal, perfect life, and it's just you who's having this situation, which of course is not so. So remind yourself of the truth that other people are feeling this. That there's nothing wrong with you for having this happen. That this is part of being human. That other people respond just like you're responding. That you are connected because of this. And I invite you to bring some warmth and open-hearted kindness to you and what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, what you're sensing, as you would do for someone you care about. And if physical touch would be supportive, you might rest both your hands, one over the other, on your heart. Or give yourself a hug, or cradle your face, whatever feels comfortable, supportive, warm, nurturing to you. Holding that for a time and letting that warmth seep into whatever you've been holding. See if you can say internally some words of kindness and support to yourself. Not sugarcoating, but kind. I know this is hard. I'm here for you. I'm so sorry this hurts. What do you need? Maybe you need some words of acceptance, like you know you're doing the best you can. Or maybe you need some words of patience. You know this won't last forever. Let's do this next moment. Maybe you need some words not of tender compassion, but of fierce compassion geared toward taking action, like you know you need to say no. Or is there something you can do differently that may help? Only you know what you need to hear. So see if you can find and say those words to yourself. Just what you need to hear right now. With just the right warmth. While you're there, may the words, the prayer of Vanessa Rush Southern meet you through Gail's voice, right where you are.
So much undone, so much to do. So much to heal in us and in the world. So much to acquire, a meal, a healthy body, a fit one, a lover, a job, a better job. Proof that we have enough and are enough just around the corner now. And up against it, the reality of all that falls short and the limits of today. We honor the limits. If your body won't do what it used to, for right now, let it be enough. If your mind won't stop racing or can't think of the word, let it be enough. If you are here utterly alone in despair, be all that here with us. If today you cannot sing because your throat hurts or you don't have heart for music, be silent. When the offering plate goes around, if you don't have money to give or the heart to give, let it pass. The world won't stop spinning on her axis if you don't rise to all occasions today. Love won't cease to flow in your direction. Your heart won't stop beating. All hope won't be lost. You are part of the plan for this world's salvation. Of that I have no doubt. The world needs its oceans of people striving to be good, oceans of people, to carry us to the shores of hope and wash fear from the beachheads and cleanse all wounds so they can heal. But oceans are big, and I am sure there are parts that don't feel up to the task of the whole some days. Rest, if you must. Then, like the swimmer lying on her back who floats, or the hawk carried on the cushions of air, rest in chairs made to hold weary lives in space carved out for the doing of nothing much but being. Perhaps then you will feel in your bones, in your weary heart, the aching, healing sense that this is enough, even this, that we are enough, that you are enough. Enough. For these and all the meditations of our hearts unspoken in this hour, I say, Amen.
Libby Roderick's words have circled the world many times. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. Those words have circled the world many times and for many years for good reason. Because self-compassion can be hard to come by without encouragement and support and practice. So many of us need the reminders, the invitation to mindfulness, to our common humanity, to our own self-directed warmth and kindness with just the right tone of voice. Although we may need to start with step 2, compassion toward others, to prime ourselves and to figure out how to do step 1, compassion for ourselves really is step 1. It really is the grounding place for the kind of compassion that is sustaining and sustainable and that transforms the receiver and the giver, that enables a world that is truly more compassionate, truly more open-hearted, more kind, more just. Together, may we keep learning and discovering that kind of compassion. Together, may we ever more and more be so.
Here we are, exploring compassion deeper and deeper, exploring how being kind to ourselves can be a gift to each other. Our offering each week is a time to consider how giving makes us feel. Sometimes really good, sometimes depleted. Taking care of others is only optimized when we take care of ourselves. 50% of your gifts you drop into the basket today support the ongoing costs of this healing, energizing, inspiring community. This month, the other 50% supports the compassionate work of Sierra Roots, this morning's Share the Plate partner, whose faces you have been seeing all morning. Sierra Roots acknowledges that the issues of homelessness are complex. Their view is that pursuing a holistic approach, which includes housing, healthy food, self-governance, reskilling, and community support makes a difference. Their weekly lunches, cold weather shelters, and compassionate friendships have been and continue to be life-saving. Please accept their invitation to embrace the power of your helping hands. The greeters may come forward. Thank you for your generosity. We dedicate these gifts to the knowledge that we are each enough and that caring for ourselves is caring for each other.
First, a thank you to all of you who have crossed the threshold into this building for the very first time. It's not a small thing to enter a church space when you may not be certain what you're getting when you walk through those doors. So thank you for that. Gail, thank you for always thoughtful and very present worship associating and planning. Thank you. Heather, the music, really, I felt very held, really held by the music. Thank you. I'm going to name a couple people, but I invite you who are familiar to look at those names on that list. Pick out someone who did something today. Our readers, our musicians, our chat hosts, the setting, the greeters. Find someone to thank after the service that you're going to pick out and especially thank them today. I want to thank Robin Hart, who we come up with an image, but Robin Hart designs our banners each week to put the theme on the banner. So Robin, thank you. Robin's typically on Zoom. And I'm happy to announce that Cypress is now a paid employee of the Unitarian Universalist. Official welcome, Cypress. Thank you. We are so glad you're here, and well deserved. For a few announcements for today. Cypress, there we go. The book group meets today, the Women's Circle on Monday. These are a few of the many ways you might connect and start to get to know people. The Buildings and Grounds work party next Saturday, a chance to be physical and do something indoors or outdoors. A parent cafe for those of you who have parents or are parents of young children on the 19th. Circle suppers are small little potlucks to help sit down with a group of people and get to know other people more deeply. Sign-ups are out here. They start soon. You may know that this congregation is considering, or at least exploring, the possibility of purchasing a different property, and there will be chances to go tour that possibility in case it plays out on Saturday the 18th or Saturday the 25th. You can sign up to go touring. Oh, there's Beth with the sign-up option for picking one of those dates. And we're going to move to 2 services in November with the day of the time change, right? Make more space for the people who are so looking for community. And I'm going to do a quick poll. You said it was really important that we take into account the well-being of everybody who prepares the service. That was really important to you. So we started with those folks. And there's really kind of a small window that really worked. So we're looking at a 9 o'clock service and an 11 o'clock service. And there's a chance you can see it in the e-chalice, or you'll get an email, those of you who are on UUCM Connect or members of the congregation, to say which of those 2 services in general are you most likely to attend. But I'm going to take a physical poll right now. Services are at 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Think for a second. Which one realistically are you most likely to attend most often? Are you ready? Who's most likely to attend at 9 o'clock? Who's most likely to attend at 11 o'clock? Beautiful, okay. Pretty good. Here's the goal. The experts tell us that if the room is at least 50% full, it feels like there's enough energy. So that's our goal, is to make each service is 50% full and also has room for people, right? So thank you for that. And normally we would have a Nisanan-focused service on this weekend around Indigenous Peoples Day, which is a response to Columbus Day, right? So, but Shelley was busy. Shelley Covert, the spokesperson for the tribes. So we made it kind on everybody. We're going to do a service in February when the theme is resilience. But we wanted to at least lift up this day. These are some photos from the website. This is some of the tribal burning, right, in the more traditional way. Shelley talks about when her parents said when they were young, their grandparents would say, "Hey, would you go over there and start a fire?" Right? They kept that going. Here's some of the tribal youth on the land, Ulicha, where the tribe now has home space, doing some stained glass, some textile work on the property. There's a new exhibit is helping recover some of the stories that are lost or buried or intentionally covered, right? There's a new exhibit at Ubaseo, the gallery in Nevada City. And today, if you're available from noon to 4, is a beautiful series of people helping offer and explore some of these unknown pieces of Nisenan history. It's at Miners Foundry. So we invite you to take part in that and to tune in. As always, ask us or check out the website to see what else is going on. As we prepare to close, I'm thinking as I look at the mirror and I think about the service, I'm remembering the daily affirmation skits from Saturday Night Live. Al Franken being Stuart Smalley, and he'd start and usually end every session looking in the mirror and saying to himself, "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me." And one of my favorite versions of this was when Michael Jordan was on with him. And at the end, he asked Michael Jordan to look into the mirror and say, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. And Michael Jordan could not do it without cracking up. But part of that cracking up is because it's hard. It's hard to look in the mirror, right? It's harder to say it to ourselves. So we're going to close with this acknowledgement. We're going to sing the song we sang at the beginning, but we're only going to sing the I verse. Right? This is not our normal focus of direction. And if that chafes a little bit, but wait a minute, that's part of the learning. Can we focus on ourselves for a moment? So I invite you to rise in body or in spirit if it feels right to you to give yourself some physical affirmation, whether it's hands over the heart or a hug. And we'll sing, and I invite you to take this in. Sing it to yourself. Take it in, knowing that you're not alone. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. Nicely done. You can do it. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. One more time. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. And in that spirit, holding that, we will extinguish our chalice, this flame that represents all that we're about, but we'll carry the light with us with these words, these good words to each other. Though we'll extinguish the chalice together, we will carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Join us next Sunday when we'll actually extend our compassion outward. You get a chance to do that. And please join us for conversation, connection, refreshments, thank yous to the people you're going to thank. And we'll see you soon.